everyone, so in the previous video we were basically able to create a perception system for our game, and in this video I'm just going to be editing the wand animation because right now the hand placement is wrong and the wand is pointing at a 90-degree angle, and I want to change the hand placement so the wand is pointing forward and it just looks better. So this is going to be an animation tutorial, and this is actually my personal workflow of how to edit animations in Unreal. So yeah, do check it out and let's jump into. Hi everyone, I thought I'd do a bit of a mini tutorial on just animation editing for programmers, and this honestly just has one slide because I just thought I'd give you very good information beforehand, because I feel like as programmers we need to understand what's going on beforehand. So I'll just give you my editing workflow for animations. So, I mainly work on different layers, and my workflow is essentially as follows. You get the animation sequencer, you bake it to a control rig, you then select the controls you want to edit. So if I wanted to adjust the arms, I'd get the hand control and just that control. I create a layer for that animation, I create a layer in that sequence, and then I edit that layer and do whatever editing I need to do of that layer. Once that layered animation is done, I then bake it back to animation, and then I'm off. And if I'm being honest, there's one hidden step here where I retarget the animation for Manny. This is all done on Manny, and then I retarget back onto my character if I had it. But this is all has to be done on Manny. So when you bake to the control, you get the base layer here, and this gives you full key control. You can see every key, every time, every control, see what's happening. And whenever you have the whenever you bake an animation, this is our base one, and this is essentially what we're working from. Now, if your base animation is not good, the editing will not good. So first, pick an animation you want to edit, a good animation that you want to edit. Now, then we have the additive layer, and as the name suggests, we basically add on some keys to our original keys. So we calculate the difference from the base key and add that value on top of the animation. It's great for like getting bouncing effects and adjusted fluid movement. So like if I wanted to, do an arm twist, or rotate the hand, or do a little wave or something, then I'd probably add it to the additive layer. I've used this about 95% of the time I've edited animation, and if I'm being honest, most of the time I do work on this additive layer. Now, then we have the override layer. This completely replaces the base key value. So if the base key value has a key of, let's say, 80 rotation in X, and we put it in, we have now in our override layer 100 rotation in X, then the X value will be 100 for that control. But it has blending and it looks better, and it has the more like the IK orient controls, and it still maintains the control rig functionality to it. So that's that one there. It's great for fixing the orientation of bones, and if I'm being honest, I use this about 5% of times that I've edited animations. Now, the absolute layer, this is the final transform. Is taken literally. There's no blending, and it kind of, the bones look disjointed. If I'm being honest, it looks like there's no blending done, so it looks like one part of the body's doing something completely different to the other part of the body. I've never used this track, and if I'm being honest, if you're using this track, you're probably a professional animator, in which case this tutorial is not for you. You can fix the orientations of bones with it, but I would stick to using the override layer, and I've never had to use this track when I've edited animations. That said though, and even though I said I've never used this track, I'm lying, because the base pose itself, the original one, when you bake onto it, is an absolute track. So the way it works is, this is an absolute track, the original animation, then we apply these two additive layer and override layer. Now, there is one thing that I haven't got a slide for, but I should mention, is the weights. These two layers can have their own weights, and the way it works is, let's say we have we're saying in this additive layer rotate by 50, like rotate by 50, but the weight itself is 0.25. Then we'll essentially be rotating by 10, or adding a rotation of plus 10. So you can add different weights to between these tracks. And I will say, even though you can have as many as you want, remember the one on top will always win out. So if you had 2 override layer tracks, and I might be wrong on it. Yeah, it's the one on top that always wins out, and that's the one that gets most priority. But then if they have this different weights as well, then it does some funky animations. Yeah. So there's 3. So that's the 2 things to look out for. Add animations here. Add onto the original animation, override the original animation's value, and the weight is how much these 2 layers affect the compared to the base layer. Okay, now let's jump into Unreal. Let's go to our animation level and save. Now I'm going to get our animation. Let's do let's get Manny rigs, and this animation can happen anywhere. So yeah, levitating, and I'm gonna go to the end. I want to go to the end there, crop it down. And I'm now going to get rid of the Manny body and bake to his control rig again. And I'm not going to reduce keys because we need it. Now this animation is done by a professional, and I don't want to change anything from it, to be fair. I just want to adjust it or edit it if that's right. So in the Manny, I'm going to add 2. First of all, actually, I'm going to click on the layers that I want. So the first layer is just this hand FK control, and I'm going to do the fingers first. Sorry, I'm changing my mind. So okay, sorry, I had a bit of a problem there. So I'm going to come here. So we have the ArcT controls. So we want to get from here, and I just want to close the fist essentially. So let me check. Yep, these are all the right controls. I'm going to go to layer, add a layer, call it right fingers, and this is going to be override because we want to just close the fingers from the beginning. So let's, now actually I'm not going to do the thumb first, I'm going to do the thumb last, and this is just going to be from, not the best animations, but pinky 3. So if we rotate this pinky, so we've got the curl control here. So I'm going to get rid of this key. That was just a wrong one. I wanted to get this curl one, and going to close it. And same for this one. Just going to close. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm just literally eyeballing it because it's going to be too far away anyway to see. And this is one of those moments where professional animators will be shouting at the screen, which, you know what, I completely agree with you. Okay, I'm going to maybe close it a bit more, and just so it's a bit of a fist. Yeah, that's the angle I want. Yeah. And the thumb, I'm going to go a little bit in. Not too much, but a little bit. Yeah, that's perfect for me. And so now if you look, can you see? Yeah, so it's staying close, and that's what we wanted. Now, I'm going to be honest, we want to now change the hand movement so it's going forward, kind of like Expelliarmus, like in Harry Potter. So I'm going to create a new layer just for this one control, and I'm going to make this one, I want to give it a bit more movement, so I'm going to give it call it wrist hand control, but I'm going to leave this one additive, and we can key in, so with additive you should always start at 0, so the first key should always be 0 because you just want to make sure the original one happening. Now at this point here, I'm going to say we need to change the rotation of this, so it's like that. And that, and a little bit further. Yep. So that's what I want, and I'm just going to duplicate this and keep this here, and then when it comes to this point here, it will go to 0. So I want there to be a little bit of wrist movement, but it sort of stops in between. So let's just have a look. Yep, I like that now. Yeah, so this was just me being picky and editing the animations. And yeah, so we had 2 layers. So what we did was we added a layer, and we can technically give them strength of how much we want to give them weight to each layer, but we're going to override the hand control here. And to be fair, so another way we could have done this, so let's go back to the beginning. I'm going to give it 0 here and give it a key. So that should come in here, so the weight. And then let's go to the let's go to here where all it is now. This will be 1, and this will be 1 here, key it in, and then 0. So that's just another way of doing it. So you don't need these keys anymore, and you still get the effect that I wanted. So a little bit of movement. Oh, okay, so you can't keep. Never mind, I forgot about that. So yeah, the weight comes here, so we're gonna do 0 here. Here it's gonna be 1. Key it in. Keep it 1 here. Then we will go back to 0.25 because why not? And yeah, keep it like that. Yep, that's fine. So I'm now going to go all the way to the top, get rid of this because it's no longer needed, and I'm going to bake animation asset, animation, call it a better levitation attack. And export, save. If I go into animations, we'll have a better, yep, levitation attacks, and literally now I'm gonna take our AI levitating ball and replace it with better levitation attacks, and we shouldn't even need to do anything. So let's go back to our third person level, save this, and let's just play. I'm going to run into both of these guys. Now attack me. Yeah, so he's now pointing the wand actually at me. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to see because by the time he goes to it, but yeah, the wand's pointing towards me now, not at a 90-degree angle, which is what we wanted. So that's that. Yep. Congratulations, you have edited an animation in Unreal. This is just my personal workflow of using various layers to edit animations. In the next video, we will be using the montage method. We'll be replacing the level sequence method with their traditional montage method that hopefully most of you are familiar with. And we'll cover a little bit of anim blueprints for the treasure chest. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. And remember, this is just my way of editing animations in Unreal, not necessarily the right way. See you in the next one.